Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So, we're going to make a second video in our series called Life Lessons from the Bank. And if you just sit and observe how the institution of banking works, you can learn so much. In fact, probably people who work at the bank don't even know this because they probably don't get trained. But I kind of think of the bank as one of my surrogate teachers, where it's like I just observe and it's like, whoa. So this is how you have the tallest buildings in every single downtown in the United States, right? Without producing a real product or service or, shuffling paper. We'll just say that. And so one of the most important lessons that we can learn is that your product doesn't really matter that much. I mean, it kind of matters, but it really doesn't. But your presentation of the product matters so much more than the product itself. And this is the problem with a lot of people. You ever notice how a lot of people, they always try to convince you to work with them because it's about like, hey, I'm so smart, or hey, I got this great product, and that's why you want to buy from me? Bank never does that, right? Or at least I've never seen a bank do that before, right? Many times, if you try to get a loan from the bank, let's say it's like for a business loan or something like that, they'll try to say, wow, you're so smart. Tell me about it. And then they offer you a loan product, right? You never notice that they don't tell you that they're smarter than you. Well, at least in my experience, that's been the case, right? Because they have a certain way of presenting things that leads to more sales. And in the end, that's how we make more money, more sales. And the product itself, just as long as it's presented properly, just doesn't have to really be that good. And the prime example of this is essentially the 30-year mortgage. I remember when I first learned about 30-year mortgage, right? Like I always thought like, whoa, I'm so jealous of other people who own homes. And I was just like, man, you got this low monthly payment. You're bragging about how you're a homeowner now. You've essentially accomplished the American dream, so you're farther ahead in life. And then you read the statistics. Oh my goodness, 90% of millennials regret buying a home in 2024. And it's like, how did that happen? How did all these people get into the one of the largest purchases, or which will essentially be the largest purchase of their life, and kind of regret doing it like a bad hangover, right? And the reason is that it was based on how the product was presented to them, right? And so I'm just going to show you two ways how to present, let's say, a 30-year mortgage. The first way is just quoting, annual interest and showing low numbers, right? So you show a low monthly payment and a low interest rate. So we'll say 6% interest rate. What's the likelihood you're going to close someone on a loan saying, hey, it's just only a 6% interest rate versus, hey, you know what? After 30 years, you're going to pay 115% interest. You're going to pay 150% interest, right? And if you present it the first way, which is how every pretty much banker on earth presents a 30-year mortgage, or at least in the United States, you'll close more sales. But if you keep like hammering in, hey, after 30 years, you're going to pay 115% interest, right? And if the bank taught every single mortgage broker, loan officer, just hammer it in about how much total interest they're going to pay, how many loans are they going to close? Probably not that many, right? But again, 6%, 115%. Now, they are required by the government to disclose this, right? So if you ever go to a closing for a 30-year mortgage loan document, and then like they'll have this number somewhere in there in page like 25 of page 30, or something like that, right? With the along with the amortization schedule. But when they talk to you over the phone, when they talk to you in email, orally, you know, person to person, they're always going to say 6%. Wow, congratulations, you got a 6% interest rate. And then somewhere in the paperwork, they'll sneak it in about this 115%. And if you don't believe me, just go to Bankrate amortization calculator, type in a loan amount, again, $100,000, and then just type in 6%. And then you'll see that's 115% interest paid. 115%. And it doesn't matter how many zeros there are. This could be a $1 million house. The proportions are all the same, 115%, right? Right? You live in Silicon Valley, you get a $1 million loan. It's like you're actually paying for a $2 million house. Insane, right? Like who would do that? But that's how 30-year mortgages work. So let me Go there, $2 million. Okay, yeah. So $2 million, you got to pay $2.3 million of interest and 11 grand. Oh my goodness, I don't even know how people afford that, but apparently people do. So again, what do you think from a consumer's point of view would be more pleasant? Oh, 6% interest, or you're going to pay 115% interest in total. 6% interest sounds much more pleasant. And I guarantee if you talk to maybe like 10 people, maybe 9 out of 10 will just not know about this, right? There's going to be smart people out there, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 9, who will know about how much they're actually paying. But most people, they're kind of asleep, which is why 90% of millennials regret buying in 2024. And again, if you don't believe me, just type in Google how many millennials regret buying in a home in 2024. Let's go ahead and take a look. Bam, we got this big fat 90 over here, right? And what's funny is, if you got a factory and you had a widget production failure rate of like 10%, you'd like freak out. Now, if you had 90%, you'd be out of business. But when it comes to real estate and buying a home, you have a 90% failure rate in customer satisfaction. Who cares? People will keep buying and the machine will keep growing. And the reason why the machine will keep going is because of the way that the product is presented, right? Again, home ownership is the American dream. Oh my goodness, let me complete my dream. And also, take a look at this. You got this low interest rate of 6%, right? So, all right. Well, that's it for today. So, it's another life lesson that we can learn just observing the bank about how presentation is way more important than the product itself. And, if 90% of your consumer regrets buying, who cares? Because they're still going to buy based on how the product is presented. Well, that's it, everybody. Have a great day, and we will speak next time.